Hi, world. It's me, AJ, Suburban Princess, here back again with Birds of a Feather here. Not with my co ed today. I'm giving Eddie a break because I'm sure I'm always dragging him, with these shows. But I wanted to do another one with one of my favorite people who has done the Five Questions podcast that I have on my channel last year. And he agreed to let me pick his brain a little bit. I need some male egos here and commentary because it's just been me talking to my damn self for the longest time. Welcome, Mal Davis. What up, homie?
You're Thank you for having me again. I appreciate you.
I shout out to Mal just because the day three of the draft footage that Fourth and Jawn had was probably the best live podcast ever.
I'm never gonna
Um,
live that down, I guess.
Not even just you, it was just the whole show because of Gail, because of how the
Yeah,
draft was falling. I think everybody had a lot of funny moments because we were all tired and we had all been
yeah.
trying to hang through the whole progress of the draft and how it was going, and it just wasn't falling the way it was supposed to. And I love to see Gail annoyed. I love to see you kind of taking like mental notes about what the hell was going on as we're all kind of like a little loopy and lefty from how long the weekend was going. It just seemed like nothing was really popping right away with the draft since we got Jordan. So at
Yeah,
this
day
point
three
now,
was because what did we go like 2 hours or 3 hours or something ridiculous between picks? And so yeah, we
yes,
turned it into Fourth and John National Geographic. We were it was
start talking about food
Owachita,
and
Wakanda State. We had a good time, man. It
Ojita.
was yeah, it was a good time. Owachita, yeah.
I
I'm gonna get
enjoyed.
a
That's
shirt
why
that says Owachita.
you got to
I
do it
might as
because
well.
at this point, every
Might as
time I see
well.
that word anywhere, I think of you because that's why I think I tagged you in something I saw recently, and I was like, "You
Yeah.
remember this mall?" You was like, "Yo, chill."
I will never forget that. No one will ever let me forget it. So I appreciate it. It
it,
was fun though. I mean,
it
that's
was
a big
fun.
reason why I enjoy working with Gail, her and Prime, Mally so much is because the purpose of Fourth and John is really to create this like space where fans and like media can combine into one to have just a lot of fun. I think a lot of times folks in the media or folks in the blogging space want to like differentiate themselves from being fans and kind of like separate themselves from the people. And Fourth and John, their approach is quite the contrary. It's like tailgates. We doing camps, right? Like we recording at
Hmm.
camps. We showing up all over the place, and so I think that a lot of that is a manifestation of just who Gail is. That Gail is very much so a person of the people. Like, despite him doing a lot of dope things in his life and all the experiences that he's had, like he's one of the most down to earth people I've ever met, right? That like Prime is like the super fan, 40 different helmets, you know what I mean? You
Yes,
know what you're gonna
yes.
get from Primo. Mally is a scout now, Hollywood Hearn
Mhm.
is one of the best multimedia editors that I've seen in my life. And so it's just this really dope team of people. And then there's me. I just talk trash and write some articles and make some jokes and sound like a fool on occasions. But I think that it's just been such a pleasure to have worked with them and to be able to like come back into the fold after taking like a 2 year break from doing anything football related. And the fact that like Gail kept the door open and he's always told me that the light is on whenever I want to circle back. And so I
Oh,
love them dudes. I appreciate them for everything that they do. And, I will always say that Fourth and John is different. That I interact with and have interacted with a lot of different bloggers in this space. I don't think any of them take the approach that Fourth and John does. And so I will
mhm.
always feel like Fourth and John is just a different experience for people. And, it's really about community and it's really about relationship building in a way that's authentic and genuine.
Yeah, I appreciate you got even joining. I didn't even know when that was happening. When I started noticing you on there, I was just like, "Oh, look at Mal." I'm like he ain't got 50, 11 jobs as it is. You got like two different
I,
podcasts.
I took a break, really around like the Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud
Mm,
Arbery, George Floyd protests. I was kind
yeah,
of sick of what I was seeing from a lot of the people in the city of Philadelphia and in the surrounding suburbs, like a lot of racism. And like
yeah.
I had a moment with Gail where I told them like I can't provide entertainment to racism, to racists, to people that literally hate me and what I stand for. You can see behind me the Panther Party.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blackity black, like I stand on my business. And
Blackity
I
black.
had gotten to a point where I couldn't continue to develop content for racists, right?
Yeah.
And Gail told me, he was like, you can't let people take away from you what you really enjoy. I wasn't
Mhm.
even enjoying it anymore. It had gotten to a point where like my fandom, I had questioned if I even wanted to rock with a fan base that could be just so volatile
Yeah.
towards people that look like myself. And so took a break. But it was worthwhile. I started my own I started two podcasts in that time, which was really what my goal was to kind of venture out on my own and create a foundation and create a space where like I can exercise my free right to speak how I want to speak and speak on the things that I want to speak on. And so that's sort of how the third lab came about. And then Mind Your Mentals was really a manifestation of all of the trauma that people have received through this pandemic, especially people of
Mm.
color, especially men of
Yep.
color,
Yep.
and really focusing on, like, let's create this space where we can talk about these things as men and it's okay, right? Like we brought football players on and
Oh yeah.
doctors and psychiatrists and therapists and all types of people, teachers, because
Definitely.
we want to keep the conversation going. Like, yo, this is a never ended journey. I've been fighting a journey of mental health for the better part of the past 20 something years. And so, I was grateful to be able to kind of venture out on my own. But like I said, Gail just kept the door open and be like, yo, whenever you're trying to fall back in the fold, like come holla at me. And so we had some conversations. I put an article out and then, I told Gail, I'm here for the long haul. I'm not going nowhere. Just really finding that balance between doing the Fourth and John work and then also what I have on my own.
Well, that's always good because you being involved in community, and obviously the third lap is not a podcast where you're gonna be like jokety jokety joke, but you're gonna talk about real life, real people
Yeah.
who are involved in real situations, which is good because it takes everyone away from the fantasy and the delusionment that can be social media.
Yeah.
And someone like me, I've grown to appreciate it, especially for my ADHD, because sometimes I need to focus on the stuff that's more important and not be daydreaming about vacations and stalking players that don't know who the hell I am. And it was
You and
time.
Mike Scott, boy, oh boy. And Dallas Goddard, you be on them boys, man.
I'm
I see
telling
you.
you,
I see you tweeting them. I see you.
I am equal opportunity lover.
I get it.
Any
I
any
get it.
color, any time of day, these dudes got time to entertain my
Anytime
little
of
ass
day.
any time of day. I mean, if they even
I'm
like a
dying.
tweet, I'm happy.
Yeah.
I think I scared away Dallas Goddard, but that's okay. I'm gonna keep pushing because I told him, I said the one time I had a chance to talk to him, the one time I bid for the Autism Foundation was the last time I actually got to talk to him through a Zoom with him and Avante. But of course, somebody at the Autism Foundation decided to be a hater and not send me the link. So I don't got any proof. So I'm still
Mm,
mad about that because I did have a conversation and he was very
that's
cool.
what's
But
up. That's what's up.
anyway, but the bottom line is the reason why I stalk and my love for sports is the reason why I even invited you because not only do I appreciate your mind, and I could tell that I told you when I did the 5 questions, I felt like you have a lot to say outside of just sports. But
Hmm.
since we're in this really weird spot where we got what 2 weeks or a week or so left, well, end of the month,
We
right, for training
almost
camp.
there.
Yo,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
thirsting. And I think it's
Yeah.
worse every year because we get so much access to the crap that happens usually where we wouldn't know anything. There's
Mm,
so much, but you and me both tweeted today about how like we're kind of tired. We're not kind of. We are tired of the think pieces. We're tired of the lists.
yes.
We're already annoyed. And it's not even like it's the 20th of July. And I'm already
Yeah.
sitting here going, if I see another stupid random question about who do you think is going to be, we don't know anything right now. Okay.
Yeah.
All we know is that the end of the month, we're going to be finally looking forward to some preseason action talk, some
Yeah.
training camp, some just some actual feasible gossip that'll make sense because it won't be based on some, intangibles. So
Yeah.
I want to get started with just not even just Eagles, but Eagles is obviously easy because that's what we're anticipating. But I don't know if you pay attention to any of the stuff that's been kind of leaking with the NBA. But
Hmm.
me personally, with the Sixers, I think at this point now, we're kind of convinced. Well, we kind of have to be. We're convinced now at this point that James Harden obviously is here again. So
Yeah.
there's no sudden departure from him. There's no big news. What I think, and you probably have seen in on the timeline, is what is going to happen now with Tobias and Matisse and
Hmm.
players like that. Furkan seems to never be in the conversation. I have no idea why. But what is your opinion, your outlook for the Sixers coming into early? I mean, I know it's early, but do you feel positive? Because that's basically what I'm trying to get at. Do
Uh,
you feel positive, or do you still feel like there's some things they still need to do?
yeah. I mean, man, my relationship with the Sixers is very different than my relationship with the Eagles. Like I
Yeah.
think that I'm far more like everybody know right now. I'm on my 17-0 Eagles going undefeated talk. I'm standing on that business. I ain't faltering until we lose a game, and I don't think we're gonna lose. So I'm gonna stand on that
Mm,
business. As
okay.
far as the Sixers, I am not that optimistic.
That's
And I
real.
think a lot of it has to do with like the length of a season. A lot of it has to do with the fact that, like, in my opinion, Joel Embiid shouldn't be playing more than 50 regular season games in any season, period. Right?
I
That's the
agree.
importance of having a backup five. That's the importance of having a James Harden. I think we should start dialing back some of Harden's minutes during the regular season because
Mm,
we really need these dudes fresh for the playoffs.
right.
Like,
In the
you don't want to
postseason.
see
Yeah.
dudes exactly on dead legs playing 7 game series like that. To me, is not. I love what Greg Popovich did with the Spurs players as they got older, right? Like how he really was meticulous about minutes. He didn't care about, you know, primetime games. Dudes weren't playing
Yeah.
back to backs. Like that's sort of where I am with the Sixers, is that I really want to see more from Doc. I
Yeah.
think that we have a roster that is going to make the playoffs, no question about that. I believe that Max will make another jump
Hmm.
into that like borderline all-star level play. Kid is a workhorse and he works his behind off in the offseason. Also seems to be really open to coaching and feedback. So you got to
Mm,
do like Sam Cassell. You got to do
yeah.
like James Harden, who are like Sam Cassell's a champion. James Harden's a Hall of Famer, right? Like he's surrounded by people that could push his game as a guard to the next level. You asked about Toby. I love Tobias Harris as a person, right? And like I get real kind of like on the line when I start talking about him as a player because I don't
Yeah.
think as highly of him as a player. And I think a lot of that is determined by the fact that he makes so much money, but
Right.
is realistically like his play doesn't equate to the
Yeah.
compensation. And so
Hmm.
a lot of us get hung up on that. But I like Toby. Toby stepped up, was one of our better defenders in the playoffs, showed a
Hmm.
side to himself that I wasn't sure we would ever see. So, we'll see. Uh, it, we need a small forward.
Yeah.
We need to find somebody that can play that wing spot for us back at 3 and D. I don't think that that's Tobias Harris. We've seen him already in that position, and it really wasn't a great fit for him.
Right.
Furkan, we know who Furkan is. Furkan's a shooter. I really expect more from Shake Milton. Like I
Me
really
too.
thought that Shake was going to be that answer
Yeah.
for us, that spark off the bench, and he
I
kind of
did
just
too.
disappeared, which was
Yeah.
disappointing. I'm optimistic about the 76ers. I think they'll be a top 3 to 4 seed in the playoffs. I think they'll have a really hard time getting out of the second round again. Boston got better. Milwaukee
Yeah.
is really good. Miami's
Yep.
trying to make a move for Kevin Durant or for Spider Mitchell. So you're
Mm.
seeing like our main competition continue to get better, right? That, I
Hmm.
mean, depends on what happens with Miles Bridges. Like Charlotte's in a really good position. So
Oh
you're seeing
God.
these teams that are like really good. They also have really good coaching. They have a system that accentuates the skills of their players. I have to question some of that stuff with Doc. We've seen time and time again, he's turning the over the hill veterans as opposed to playing some of our young boys and,
Yeah.
to the detriment of the team. And so my real thing kind of comes down to, does Doc have what it takes to take this roster to a championship? Less the
Yeah.
players, more the coaching, because we have the skills, right? Like we have the
Yeah.
players. We have, when you have Embiid and Harden, I mean, you don't really have very many excuses. You have 2 top 15 players in the world, and so that's usually enough to get you to the playoffs. But then those rosters start to shrink, and you really
Hmm.
get a chance to see who's the coach that's worth it versus the coaches that maybe aren't. I don't know where Doc is right now. Seeing him blow too many 3-1, 3-0 leads, it is mind boggling to me that somebody could have that kind of like, win a
Yeah.
championship and be high level, but
Deflation.
also sheesh.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see. But like I said, I mean, for me, I feel like they'll make the playoffs though.
Well, I'm like you. When it gets to the second round, it's like, why are they always deadlocked there? But then exactly what the reasons that you just painted, that's exactly the problem. They need to get to a point where a roster doesn't have to worry about, if 2 or 3 guys are out because of injury in the postseason. Like it has to get to the
Yeah,
point where they just have the parts that they need, and it's just a matter of stamina and durability.
yeah,
Um, we obviously know at this point, Embiid has pushed himself to obviously to the brink physically and mentally. So I feel
yeah.
like he's obviously, me personally, and I even say this, I had a little bit of a conspiracy theory that I thought for some weird reason that he would just be like, you know what, F this. I'm just going to go to Miami with Jimmy and just
I'm
finish
out.
my
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
But I wouldn't be mad at him if he did. And I
Couldn't blame
still,
him. Yeah,
I mean, you do everything for me, and every year it's a different roster, and we're
Yeah,
still not getting past the mark that we need to be getting. Like I
yeah,
thought for sure they had a shoe-in chance to actually somehow scoot, past the second round this past season. And I didn't like the way they went out because the lack of effort was there. But it was obvious
yeah,
they also didn't have the horses. Like putting George Niang in that position when he can't defend like that is just it's embarrassing.
yeah.
And it was really defeating to see Matisse kind of shrink into nothing. And then the whole thing with the
The
vaccination status
vaccine.
being,
Yep,
yeah, with going to Toronto. I'm like,
yep.
that's why even if the idea of Kyrie coming here is stupid to me, because people putting it out there, I'm like, please, if you think Matisse is
Keep
an issue
Kyrie
when they
away
go to,
from this team, please,
I'm
Lord.
saying, like, I don't even want that attitude here because Kyrie does not have that team spirit at all in him. You know what
Not
I
at
mean? And I
all.
don't think he'd be the guy to sacrifice. And you clearly know he ain't going to Toronto if he doesn't want to be vaccinated now.
Yeah,
So we have an issue with that. And then what people don't understand is the problem with trading too is you cannot trade guys who don't have worth to other teams if they're not getting anything for the work, for the trade. And
yeah.
they have to understand it's not that easy to just ship someone like Tobias with that big of a salary. It's not that easy to get rid of Matisse or Furkan. I'm willing to hold on to Matisse if he's willing to round out his game. But if he's third year going on to fourth and he's still pretty much the way he is, then that's saying a whole lot. And that's unfortunate, because he is talented, but I think he's also a one trick pony. And I think that's what we fans had to face this past season was that he really can't do more than just defend, like really, because he can shoot the ball. He just doesn't do it consistently.
And I mean,
So
he could
that's
get to the
the
rim.
problem.
Like he could run in the
Yeah.
open court. I think
Yeah.
that with Matisse, he has to get out of his own way, right? It's almost
Yeah.
like with 25, because I refuse to say that I do his name.
Yeah, I'm
But
not no.
you
Yes, me.
have to want to be great, right?
Yeah,
Maxi wants to be great. Harden
definitely.
and B, you see all of these dudes, their want for greatness outweighs everything else. And so they
Right.
go after it and they get it. You get a lot of these cats. I mean, I would say even PJ Tucker wants to be great, right? Does he
Yeah,
have the skill
yeah.
set to be great? Not necessarily, but he's going to give you 100% effort every time he gets
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
basketball court. And so, you have certain people that who have these physical skill sets that are an anomaly and they kind of skate on these things until they get pushed into a position where it's is break or bill, right? That
Mhm.
what is Matisse doing in the off seasons? The same question that we always have for 25. What are you doing in the off season, bro? That you
Right.
come back with the exact same deficient
Same.
areas.
Right.
When you see Joel Embiid from that skinny kid that came to America to this day, he has gotten like night and
Yeah,
day player. Whereas
yeah,
25 has been the same dude since he was 12 years old for the most part. And so with Matisse, my question is, how bad do you want it? How much
yeah.
do you want greatness? How much do you want to build on your legacy of not only being a great defender, but being a great two-way basketball player? Because that's what
And
the
does he
NBA has
believe in
become.
himself? Yeah, I
Yeah,
just truly
bro.
wonder if he believes in himself too, because I'm starting to he comes off very young to me, but also I
Hmm.
do wonder if it is a confidence thing because
Could be mental
it,
health. Yeah, for
yeah, you
sure.
know what I mean? Because you were just on an Australian team where you medaled bronze, and everyone saw another side of his play for some reason on that team. Whether or not they got obviously gold or silver wasn't an issue. It was just the fact that they even medaled, and the fact that if you can have someone like what's his name, Patty, that's on the Nets, that
Pat Mills. Yeah,
he's growing a little bit in his play a lot. So it's like, what happened
yeah.
to Matisse? Somewhere along the line there was a disconnect this past season with him, and I'm
But see,
wondering if
Patty
it's a lesson
Mills came through that Spurs system, though. Patty Mills came through a
true.
system where they cultivate and curate the skills of their players. Look at Kawhi when he came in. People was like, Kawhi
Yeah.
can't ball. He evolved into one of the best two-way forwards in the game, right? And so
Mhm.
it's like the Spurs have a history of player development that the 76ers don't, right? Like
Yeah.
we see our players hit this plateau and then they stop. Right.
Yep.
Whereas with the Spurs, their dudes, boom, boom, the Devonta Murray, right? Murray that they just traded
Yeah.
away. I mean,
Yeah.
look at every year, boom, boom, boom. Now he's an all-star, and then they flip him because now they're in a rebuild. But in
Yeah.
the end of the day, player development is huge. And why I was so excited to see Sam Cassell be a part of this roster, be a part of this coaching staff, is
Yeah.
because that's his thing, right? And
Yeah.
so under his tutelage, you're seeing Maxi get better. You're gonna see some components to Harden's game that shift and change, right? I'm
Mhm.
hoping that Shake can figure it out still, right? Is
Yeah,
that a
yeah.
confidence issue? Because Shake got game, bro. Like, Shake
He does,
Milton
but
could
he was
hoop.
injured. He was
Yeah,
injured the first part of the last season, but you're right. I thought there was a little street ball in him almost even how he did his handles. So I was getting excited at times that he was kind of in his zone 2 seasons back. And now I'm like, okay, has he regressed? Like, and then
right.
you're right. It's a developmental thing. I do question the developmental ability of the coaching staff, and maybe Cassell is
Yeah.
the answer. And I'm hoping that he stays
Yeah, I
here.
mean, at least for the guards, I mean, to be completely frank, I was really on the fire Doc bandwagon at the
Me
end of the
too.
season
Me
because I
too.
had
I
seen
was.
enough.
Yeah.
And really wouldn't have been mad if Sam had gotten promoted into that leadership position and had been able to build out his own staff. I think we are in this very interesting space with Joel Embiid because realistically, until we get like the final sort of version of Harden's contract, all the word out is that it's a 1-and-1, right? Like
Yeah.
he's in this year, player option for the following year, so there's still this window of malfunction where
Yeah.
if we don't get it right this year, if we can't get through
Right.
the second round, I don't blame Joel Embiid for saying, "Yo, I'm out."
I'm
Like he
out. Yeah.
clearly had him and Jimmy clearly have a man crush on each other. They play well together, right? Like they
Romance.
understand. It's a heck of a bromance. I don't knock
Yeah.
it. I understand
Nope.
it because
Nope.
dogs recognize dogs.
Right.
And Jimmy from Jump Street recognized MB was a dog and 21 wasn't, or 25 wasn't, and
Mhm.
that became a thing. And so, if it doesn't happen this year, who knows? Maybe Harden says, "F it, I'm out. I signed this some big deal for the back end of my contract somewhere else." And then B says, "Yo, if he's out, I'm out too. Look at what happened with the Nets, right? And KD and Kyrie. So anything can
Right.
happen in the NBA. I'm only focused on this season. I'm not looking forward too far into the
Yeah.
future. I'm really
Yeah.
like, yo, this is the year that the Sixers have to prove it. Anything
Yeah.
short of an Eastern Conference Finals run, I think you really have to start thinking about selling off these parts and potentially starting over.
I agree.
You're seeing teams in a rebuild all around the NBA. It would suck for the process to start again, but what we can't become is a middling second
Yeah.
and out team, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not what all of this was for.
Yeah. You're just wasting energy, and you're also wasting obviously Embiid's prime because at this
And a
point, like I
lot of
said,
money.
I'll
A lot
shitload.
of money.
We're gonna be
Yeah.
sitting there going through the process 2.0 after everybody bails. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
just gonna be unwatchable. And I don't want to sit through that again because I mean, if we were putting our hopes way back when it was just Iguodala and the rest of them,
Yeah.
it's not gonna be fun. But moving off of
No,
that,
it won't be.
I don't know if you pay attention to any of the Philly stuff that's going on, but since All
Nah.
Star just wrapped last night, yeah, I think the only thing that I wish about the Phillies is I wish that a lot of stuff doesn't seem to center around Bryce because they clearly don't have the salary. And that's just basically my point with the tie-in with all these other teams is that it seems like always the front office has to be a huge factor in whether some of these teams survive. And that's kind of a
Yeah.
painful reality here in Philly.
And
But
it
going
seemed
back
like
to the,
the
go ahead.
manager, right? That like he got canned during the
Yeah,
season, and then you saw a quick uptick in games won, and then it seemed like Philly's kind of settled back into who they are. As funny as it is, I'm 2 for 4. I never got into the Flyers. I was never a Phillies fan growing up, just because they
yeah,
really struggled to like field teams with black players. And as a
true.
black child playing baseball growing up, I always gravitated to like the Mariners and Ken Griffey, like these teams that had
Mhm.
black players that I could forecast myself into
Yeah.
versus watching these very white lineups that really hasn't changed. I mean, they had a good run with like Jimmy Rollins
Mhm.
and some of them other folks. But yeah, never was a Phillies fan for real. Always was Eagle 76ers from the jump. So I enjoy baseball as a sport, but I don't really
Yeah.
watch it, to be quite honest. I have to manage my time, and football and basketball takes enough of my time that I'm like, yo, if I add any more sports into this, like I barely can watch college football as it is. And so yeah, I don't get too heavy into that. I know people like think everyone from Philly is supposed to be 4 for 4. Sounds
Yeah,
good. That's
no.
nah, brother. I'm
It
good.
sounds good. It does. And I've tried, trust me. Like every now and then if there was something on, I might watch. But I have to admit, I'm like you, my I do sit through Phillies games only because it is a fun game to go to. I just went with my job about a couple weeks back. But I
Nice.
was more interested last night's All-Star game only because I missed most of it working out with my friends online. But Denzel Washington apparently made a huge tribute um 42 to why am I blanking? Hello. Jackie Robinson.
Okay.
And I was probably the only highlight of that whole game because honestly, with the NL losing, which is obviously our division, I was like, "What the hell's what are you watching this for?" Like, it's
Mhm.
really not that interesting
I
without
don't
any
even
kind of star
know.
power.
I don't know any of the young boys that's playing now. Like
Yeah,
I barely know any of the names. I was excited that like the top 5 prospects coming out in the draft, all of them were black. Like the
yeah,
top
yeah,
5 players were black. I was like, all
yeah.
right, that's what's up. Like,
That's what's up.
that's kind of a shift from the norm.
Yeah,
Andrew Jones's son being one of them, and Andrew Jones was a beast back in the day. And so
yeah,
yeah, that I tapped into. Like I'll read stuff through the athletic, but
yeah,
I have not turned on a Phillies game to watch.
yeah,
I can't even remember the last time I watched a Phillies game on TV.
yeah.
Um,
I can understand it though.
yeah.
I can totally understand. My dad named me, supposedly the story is he named me after Richie Allen, but I don't know how he got Elena out of that, but whatever. I think he wanted me to be a boy straight up. But anyway, but moving back onto the Eagles, just before we go, I just want to say like training camp is really exciting just because of the prospect of how obviously N'Kobe Dean and um
Oh
why am I
yeah.
always blanking on our big boy? Jordan
Well,
Davis, is
Jordan,
that his name?
Big
Jordan.
Jordan, yes
Big
sir.
Jordan, big baby. When they come out on the field, the question I want to ask you is, did you ever go to Lehigh practices and do you miss it?
I did. I went the
Okay.
year that. mm, What year was that? That was like damn, maybe
Because I know I went one
10 or
time, but I think it was 2 years
12
before the
years
Super Bowl year.
ago. Yeah, I went like 10 or 12 years ago,
Hmm.
and it was a great time. I want to say Vic was on the team at that point.
Okay.
It was a lot of optimism around the team. It was dope. It
Hmm.
was dope driving out to Lehigh, like seeing all the fans. I got some of the
Yeah.
pictures still on my phone. It was a good time. I miss it for
Yeah.
sure. But I understand that, we get caught up in nostalgia and wanting everything to stay the same. That's just not
Yeah.
life, right? Like life evolves and moves forward. And so it's
Right.
imperative that we embrace that change and shift within ourselves and within the world around us. And so we move on.
Yeah.
It's a different format now. I'm hoping that, through the work that Fourth and Joan is doing and continues to do into the future, that, we'll be able to get press passes. Mally and
Yeah.
Gail went to the Senior Bowl. And so,
Yeah.
things are kind of like stepping up. I'm
Yeah.
hoping to be with Gail at the Senior Bowl this year as well. And so, you know, I'm excited about Eagles football in a way I haven't been in a long time. I'm one
Same.
of like the real Jalen Hurts truthers out here. I think that we've only
God.
scratched the surface of what Hurts
Ah.
can become.
Yeah.
I don't think that the Eagles brass is going to be quick to move on from him. I think that going to get AJ Brown was an investment in him.
Yep.
Continuing to focus on building out the defensive line and adding to the secondary. This defense is going to be one of the better defenses we've seen since the Jim Johnson era of football. And so,
Yeah. I'm
you know,
hoping. Praying to
the
God.
excuses, we talk about this all the time on the podcast and on the shows, but like the excuses have been taken away from the coaches, from the players. This is right, like Jonathan Gannon and
Mhm.
also Sirianni and the offensive staff. Like y'all got dogs. Y'all got
Yeah, you have no
dogs.
excuse. Yeah, no
What
excuse. We
let the
want more
chips
games
fall
than
how
game
they
1
do.
last year. Yeah.
Right, like let the chips fall how they do. But yeah, I'm expecting a huge leap forward from Jalen Hurts. I expect a shift away from the run heavy offense to a more balanced one. And I'm excited to see Hurts prove a lot of people wrong, not just in this city, but around the entire country. And you still got Gardner Minshew, you still got Carson Strong, who's a developmental quarterback. We got as an
Yeah.
undrafted free agent. It's a lot of it's some dogs on this team. We got 3 really good running backs. We have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. We have one of the most versatile defensive lines in the NFL. We got 3 dogs at linebacker. We got a starting secondary that uh, I wouldn't have imagined we'd have, right? With Bradbury getting added
I was
and
just gonna
Jaquiski
say, I was
Tart
shocked.
at safety.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
I was
So
shocked when that
the
happened.
the depth is there. The players are
Yeah.
there. Excited to see these training camp battles. Excited to see the development of some of our young players. And yeah, this is for me, like, contrary to the Sixers, I'm taking a 5-year approach with the Eagles, right? That I'm looking at from this point over the next 3 to 5 seasons, we could be very well a champion again. Versus the
Mhm.
Sixers, I'm like, is this year. And then let's worry about next year, because we
Ish or
don't
get
know.
off the pot, Sixers. Yeah,
That's it,
exactly.
right? But
That's
with
it.
the
Like,
Eagles,
yeah.
if yeah, if Hurts can show he's that guy, this
Well,
team
here's the thing. I think
could be a
that's the
dynasty,
also the fear.
explosive.
I think that's the fear too, because I think some people want him to fail at this point.
Oh,
And I think it's just because,
yeah,
everyone expected him to just come out the box. And I think that was just because of the false hope that when he started that Saints game and how easily the offense flowed, everybody thought that was going to be like that every single game. And I'm like,
yeah,
you have to realize there's a lot of moving parts that have to gel with him. So
yeah,
he
yeah.
need this year to me is almost like his rookie year starting all over again, because he has to start new with these guys and the mentality has to change, and then just everything has to change. And the way he comes off, I think, is always shakes these haters too, because he's confident in himself. And a lot of
It's
people feel like if
poised,
you're
yo. Yeah.
confident, you got to show it all the time. No, because a human being isn't perfect every freaking day of the week. Like, you're gonna make mistakes.
Well, let's
Um,
keep it real. It's a whole subset of fans in this fan base that can't let 11 go, even though he's
true.
now a op and a commander. That, like, for them,
He's an
they
op.
still stuck in the past. He a op, like he a
He
full
is an
op.
op.
How y'all
I'm mad he's
cheering
no
for the
commander. I'm
ops?
so mad at that.
Like, y'all cheering for ops? Never, bro. We don't do that over here,
Ketchup and
man. That's
mustard. That's what he is to me
take
today. This
yeah,
now. He's
take that
ketchup
to
and
the other
mustard.
side. Go be a
Yeah.
Commanders fan. Y'all followed them from Colts. Now he a command. Follow him around if that's your man's. But stop claiming the Eagles and stop hating on who we have here and stop wishing on. And,
Yeah.
and really frustrates me when I see these black men wishing on the downfall of this young brother. Yo, you could
Yeah.
feel as though he's not the answer, but you don't
Right.
gotta hate on him so publicly. You don't gotta speak down on that man's ability. He was one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the NFL last year. He was voted to the Pro Bowl by his peers, right? And so
Right.
in a year that arguably would probably go down as his worst as a professional, because I feel like
Hmm.
this year he's gonna take a step. He'll continue to work. I always
Yeah.
say the same thing, is that if Jalen Hurts don't work out, it's not because he didn't give all the effort that he had.
Right.
He has it between the ears. He has the
Yeah.
physical capabilities. He's a coach's son. He understands the
Hmm.
game of football in a very intricate way. But the chips, like you said, everything still got to shake out straight. All the
Yeah. We
people got to
everything
stay
is gonna
healthy.
blend. Yeah. That's
It's
and that's
all
my
that
only
cohesion
fear.
piece.
Yeah, all that cohesion. And I think that just as a fan, that's that to me is my fear every year,
Oh,
and that's why I kind
absolutely.
of like how they approached like the early parts of the, like, from May to now, how there wasn't this over practicing like over and over and over and then have training camp, because I'm like, their bodies have to recover. So now
Yep.
when the pads go on a little sooner and they hit a little harder, they'll be ready for it mentally for preseason. And we only get one
Yeah.
preseason game at home this year. So it's like, how funny is it against the Jets? And then now with this whole like
Zach
brouhaha rumors
Wilson.
going around that Zach Wilson kid. It's like, are we
I
going to have
hear
the most sold out preseason game this year just because of the matchup? Even if
could
Jalen doesn't
be.
even play, you know what I'm saying? Like, it may just to be to see Zach come out and just be like,
Yeah.
is he going to be slinging it? Like, I'm
I'm
just like, it's
I
just a
am
trip. It's a preseason game.
I am not a Zach Wilson truther. Quite the opposite. I don't think he's as good as people make him out to be. He has a lot to prove this year in a
Oh God, yes.
remade Jets offense that is really supposed to be catering to his skill set and is going to provide him with all the opportunity to make a
Hmm.
splash. I don't think he's that guy. So, we'll see. He's more of a Mitch Trubisky to me than he is like a Pat Mahomes or a dude that's going to be able to really
Yeah.
turn the corner and take it to the next level. I don't have that belief in Zach. I do have that belief in Hurts. And I know people are like, what? How you believe it? Because I,
Yeah.
I really study this game. Like, I really study tape. Like, I really sit down and break this stuff down. Like, I really watch snaps. Like, I really listen to how people talk. I really watch their approach to the game. I listen to their interviews and
Hmm.
I look at their backgrounds, right? And like, Zach Wilson, he's a flashy dude. He's like a Jay Cutler type that he can make the
Hmm.
throws, but does he have it here?
Does
And
he
does he
have the
have it in
head? And
his
that's the
heart,
thing.
man?
Yeah.
Does he really
Yep.
love the game? And so we'll see. But as far as the Eagles go, I'm so optimistic. I'm so overjoyed and excited. August 5th, we'll be tailgating Fourth and Jonah be in the building.
Yeah. I might have to
So
be there since I got tickets.
yeah, folks. I'm sorry, that's the 7th on Sunday. The
7th. Yeah. I
Eagles
figured you meant
open
7th,
practice
but yeah.
tailgate. Yeah, yeah. When
Yeah.
they get that straight. So the 7th, the 5th is Prime's birthday. The 7th is when we're gonna celebrate Primo
Oh,
birthday. And so yeah, just excited to be out there with the people. I haven't been to a Fourth and John tailgate
It's been
since
a while for me.
game one of like 3 years ago. So it's been a long, long time. So just excited to be back out there and kicking it with the homies like usual.
Yeah, I rolled through that at the time I got those tickets with me and my sister last October, and that was the Chiefs game, and that was the last time I even
Uh,
saw any of the guys in person. But this time I will make an attempt to not be like an old Nelly and go out there and join the kids, and then I may or may not
Listen,
want to wait in line and watch the game at Xfinity unless
we
I for
got
some reason got tickets.
we got COVID and monkeypox spinning blocks out here. So
I'm
I don't really
saying.
I don't really blame people for not being all close and touchy
I
touchy and all
mean,
that. I'm
but I
good,
have
bro.
gotten to a point where I am starting to get itchy from being a homebody, and I
Yeah,
am
I could
starting to
dig it.
feel like little by little. I mean, you said the fifth, and the reason why I thought it was the fifth it was because in my head, my friend just texted me about going to see Kendrick Lamar on the fifth at the
Nice.
Barclays. So I'm
Okay.
hoping we go because that'll be my first like New York outing in a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's little by little, but I swear this year I think you should have me commentate the annual COVID report for every game. Just so I can sound nice and paranoid and say I'm praying for the people during every
I,
tailgate. I'm
I,
gonna talk to
I feel
Gail
like
about that.
the commentary is COVID still spinning the block. Be careful out here. Wear your mask, wash your hands. Y'all nasty for not
Thank
washing your
you.
hands in the first place.
Thank you.
Yeah, and just be safe out here and be careful, man. I caught COVID last year, January, around the turn of New Year's. I got a couple homies that have
Mm,
caught it numerous times. It's not a joke.
mm,
It's not something to
it's
play
not.
around with, right? That like we all have family, but it's not the new cold. I've had colds. COVID was the
Yeah,
worst thing I ever caught in my life, and so for people that think it's a joke, like just don't come
I'm
near me.
saying, please
Just
make sanitary fashionable. Bring your sage. I might bring some sage shit
bring
on
this.
the practice night. I don't care what
you
nobody
sound
say.
like
I'm trying to
now
get
you
rid of
sounded
all the
like
bad spirits.
Kyrie, man.
Yeah, I'm
Sounded
sorry.
like your
I'm
boy,
sorry.
man.
I don't want none of it. I've done the four shot. If I said four, I just added a shot, but I'm sure I will get another one. I don't fucking care. I'm not scared of needles.
How
I will
many
do
did
whatever I
I
got to
do?
do because the monkey be
Yeah.
poxing. I ain't trying to be
I need
part
to
of the
do
pox.
the I need to do the booster. I did the 2 shots and then people was like, you gotta get a booster. And I was like, chill, I'm not doing
Get
no
your
booster.
booster. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I need
look
to
at
do
the
the
end of the day, it
booster.
doesn't matter. I just don't want you in the hospital. So that's the
No, no,
main thing.
no.
I don't want nobody in the
Mally ain't in
hospital.
no
If you
hospitals.
gotta put your hand sanitizer on a holster, do it. It's all part of the look now. I'm sorry. We got a new fad going on, and I ain't trying to
Yeah,
be part of that group.
get y'all fanny packs, man. Get y'all fanny
Fanny
packs.
pack,
Throw the mask in there. Throw y'all hand
use those
sanitizer in
masks.
there.
Yep, yep, yep. This
Yeah.
time
And if you see
it's
me in
just
public and you anti-vax, like just
keep
6 feet,
moving.
dog. Just don't
Keep
even,
moving.
you
That's
know what I
all. We
mean?
can still
We're
hang.
not
Just
even
don't
on the
touch me.
same time. And yeah, that's it. Don't touch me. I got a
Don't
wife
touch
at
me.
home. You know what I
High
mean?
air
She
five.
carrying
High five.
she here exactly. She carrying my little homie in her, so I can't bring no
Oh
COVID to the
yes.
house. You feel me? So like that's my main reason why I haven't really been moving around a lot. Like I skipped the Roots
Absolutely.
picnic. I skip a lot of stuff because I'm
I don't
not
think you
bringing
missed
that into
anything,
my
honestly.
house. Huh?
I don't think you missed anything with
Nah,
the
that's what
first
I heard.
picnic.
Shouts out to the Roots
Yeah.
picnic though, man,
Shout
for
out
at
though.
least
No,
bringing it
trust
back
me. I was
again.
jealous. I was jealous, but then I saw that technical issues on some of them stages. I was like, "Ooh, I'm
Yeah.
glad," because I'd have been pissed. But
I
I'm
had
not good at
tickets through my
waiting.
job, but I told them, nah, I'm good,
Oh,
man.
see,
Get after
you
somebody who
got the
really want
plug.
to pull up. Yeah, we is fortunate. Center for Black Educator Development. Shout out the
It's
nonprofit
nice.
here in Philadelphia, focused
Mm,
on creating a pipeline for Black educators. Really excellent
nice.
work happening. But nah, I told my supervisor, I was like, nah, I'll be at the
No,
house.
I'm
Dog.
sorry. I don't want to be part of any of the festivals this year. As
Nah, I'm
jealous as
good.
I might be for some of them, I could do without it. And I feel like now it's also become the Wild Wild West, and people feel like they want to be popping. So another reason why
Yeah.
I don't want to be in open air is because I don't want nobody to make me feel vulnerable and start ducking and shit. Because then people start
Uh,
trampling, and I'm gonna have to start swinging. So no,
all of
don't.
the above.
All of the above. I'm sorry. They're making. I'm sorry. These little mother fathers are taking the fun out of a nice, beautiful day of music and
Yeah.
commingling. But there's just too many factors now. And I'm God's child, but
Yeah.
I ain't trying to be dead before I'm 50. So I need y'all to
No,
chill.
listen. And you come outside to have a good time, right? That
Right.
like, we come outside to enjoy ourselves. We come outside to get
Exactly.
fresh air and vitamin D and all of that. Nobody
All
coming
that.
outside to get harassed and trampled and shot at, none of
Mhm.
that stuff. So, we also got to learn how to be more civil towards each other so that we could come
Yes.
outside and enjoy this safe space, we've now decreased exponentially our safe spaces. So
Yes.
especially as black people, right?
Yep.
People of color, we already had very few of them. And so now we've removed so
Exactly.
many of them that it's like, yo, most of the people I know right now, like, bro, if you want me, I'm at the crib, like, holla at me. I'll be on the same time. Like, listen, I'm at the crib, man, with the wife.
Right.
I'm chilling, playing 2K. I'm working. I'm doing third lap or something. But like, if you need me, you know where I'm at. You probably don't know where I'm at, but you know I'm at the house.
I'm
Very
around.
few people. Yeah, I'm around. And when I'm
Yes.
outside, I'm outside. And when I'm inside, I'm
Right.
inside. Leave me alone, man. That's
Same,
all.
same.
Um,
Glorify both options, but just don't. I mean, we do got to
mhm.
get to a point where it just becomes not redundant to hang out. But I wanted to go to the Roots specifically because they had the whole podcast space this year. That was my basic
Mm-hmm.
interest in it. But then I saw them
Yeah.
tickets, and I'm like, not just for that. No, thank
Yeah,
you. But
it was a grip. It was definitely a grip. But
oh
I heard
yeah,
people had a good time out there. Some of the homies pulled up. They said
oh
it was a
yeah,
good
most people
time.
did, but I'm not here to be like. I know that some of that stuff was out of their hands. Like even I think it was
Yeah.
the second or third day, they said that I couldn't even watch it online because the camera just fizzed out, so I couldn't even see
Mm,
any of the online stuff on the next day. So I was kind of mad about
yeah.
that. But from what I saw, like Alex Isley and all these other artists I had never heard of and stuff, it was good to see some new vibes. It was good to see some
Yeah.
Afro beats I never heard of. You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot of music out there that people don't realize because it's so
Yeah.
saturated right now.
Right.
But Ma, I really wanted to touch base with you on top of that. This is pretty much how I'm bonding with everybody right now until until
I
practice.
feel
So
you. Yeah.
you understand it. And I'm so happy you're gonna be a daddy soon. I can't wait to see the little
Hey,
schnookums.
he gonna be
Can't
everywhere,
wait.
man. Once he ready, he gonna be on
Oh,
Fourth and John talking football with his pops. You know what I mean? He gonna
I
be
can't
third
wait.
lapping it. He gonna be minding his mentals. He gonna be out. Like my
I
mom, I was
can't
talking to
wait.
her earlier today, and she was like, "You gonna be that dad with him just strapped to your chest everywhere?" I'm like, "Of course.
I
Why
dig it.
we outside? Like I wanted him to see what is we out
Right.
here. Like you know what I mean?
And I
Out
want him to be
here.
by me at all times. I want to be
Nah,
that parent to not
right
be like
strapped to my
not behind
chest.
me, strapped to me.
Nah, nah,
It's
nah, nah.
all up in my
I
face. I
don't
don't
do that.
care.
I'm in front of the. I will never understand how people walk in front of their children.
Oh, just
It's so
let him
many
just
people out
wander.
here just snatching
Yeah.
children up. You'll never see a child again. Nah, he strapped to my chest. He holding my
Mhm.
hand, or he walking in front of me.
Mhm.
Period.
And
But
my
yeah,
eyes are
I'm
on you
geeked up.
everywhere.
Yeah, he doing November. Just excited
Oh,
about that addition.
Scorpio
Really
baby. Uh-oh,
appreciate
Drake.
my wife. Ah, yeah, Scorpio. Lord have mercy. Yeah, so he gonna be a handful.
He
But
is
we're
because my
excited,
sister's
man. We're
youngest
excited.
she's a Scorpio, and oh Lord, 13.
Yeah,
Jesus Lord.
yeah,
Yeah, but no, I'm
Scorps.
happy for
Yeah,
you though. I'm happy for both of
thank you. I
you.
appreciate you. I appreciate you.
And I will hopefully see you at some point on the night of the open practice.
Yeah, I'll be
I'm
out
supposed
there.
to be coming with my friend Ed, and if not, I'm gonna grab somebody to
Okay.
come with me because I ain't going by myself.
Yeah,
But
pull up.
yeah,
I mean,
thank
even
you
if you
though.
pull up dolo, we out there, man. So you ain't by yourself. You got the gang out there. We out here. We chilling. Everybody pulling up.
True.
Everybody excited for the 7th. Folks listening, if you into the Eagles, if you into Fourth and John, if you into just bonding with some real people, pop
Just
through,
come.
pop up on the 7th, fall through. Like I said,
Yeah,
if you not with vaccines and all that, I air bump you in the air and all that. Don't
that's
at least
right.
6 feet, dog. Cause I ain't doing it.
Observe that. Please
Yeah, I'm
respect
not
that.
playing with
Yeah.
you.
We ain't
Um,
playing. No,
but
we
yeah,
ain't
nah, all
trying.
jokes aside, come out, man, and enjoy yourselves. Fourth and John is it's a great entity, just period. But the coming out into the public and having these events that go on, especially the tailgates, it's a good
Yeah, good
time. We're gonna
vibes.
have Club Fourth and John for the night games, and so we out there, man. We're gonna
Yeah.
be jumping around.
This is my chance because it's been a while. I know these knees are a little stiff, but I'm gonna get them working if I know I got some tequila in me at some point.
There you go.
But yeah, but no, I'm looking forward to it, and I thank you so much for making so much time, and I'm so happy for
Thank
you
you.
again to be a dad, and I'm looking forward to the next live y'all about to pop because y'all be cracking me up, and especially Evan and his crunchy beer.
The
Um,
nastiest thing I ever heard in my life. I ain't gonna stand on my man's though, because that's my man.
I know we
But
love Evan. Evan
that's
knows I
the
got nothing but love for him.
nastiest thing I have ever seen or
A
heard
special
in my. I've
breed.
seen some nasty stuff. That takes the cake. That's Jersey though. So that's how they
Yeah.
do it in Jersey.
He's a
And
special
so just
breed.
remember
He
that.
Yeah, yeah, he's a special breed,
That's
but
Jersey.
definitely follow Maul, follow any of
Yeah,
his
follow
plug
the
your
homies, man.
podcast again as well. Both
Yeah, yeah.
podcasts.
Third lap podcast. And so that's at third lap on Twitter,
Hmm.
at third_lap_podcast on Instagram, and the third lap podcast everywhere else. The third lap podcast is really just a fireside chat where I get a chance to talk with really amazing people about their journeys to where they are. The vast majority of them are currently entrepreneurs or on the
Mhm.
cusp of becoming an entrepreneur. So really being able to dig into why did they go the route that they did and what motivates them to keep going forward with their lifestyle. Really just an amazing opportunity for me to connect with just the dopest people I know on this planet. AJ, I got to get you on. We're gonna talk about that one. Get your episode up and
Anytime.
jumping. And
Yes.
then Mind Your Mentals podcast featuring Tim and Mal, at MYM podcast on Instagram, at mind_your_mentals on Twitter, and Mind Your Mentals podcast everywhere else. Mental health podcast specifically for Black men and men of color, but really we've opened that umbrella up to include really like the entire African diaspora and all
Yeah.
people of
It's
color.
important.
We went through season 1 already where we talked about mental health and sports. Season 2, we're digging into intersections and what those mean for people as they show
Mm.
up in different spaces, and like really just going through how certain instances your this intersection or this component of you is accepted, but this one isn't. But in
Yeah.
reality, the point is that we really want people to be accepted for their whole being. So yeah, Third Lap Podcast, MYM, Fourth and Jawn, of course, is at Fourth and Jawn everywhere. The
Big
Fourth
up.
and Jawn podcast comes out every week. We're going to be kicking out even more content as we get into the preseason and regular season. Look out for articles from me, videos from
Definitely.
the whole team, draft breakdowns when it's time for the NFL draft. We do that every year. We have our
So much
live
fun.
NFL draft stream. And so, yeah, man, it's so much fun. So Third Lap Podcast, Mind Your Mentals Podcast, Fourth and John. Shouts out to the homie Hollywood Hearn. Shouts out to Gail Saunders. Shouts out to Prime.
Primo.
Yeah, shouts out to Chris Malley, the whole team over
Yes.
there, man. Love them boys. Shouts out to you, AJ, the Suburban Princess. Appreciate you. This is the second time we rocking, so I got to get you on my
Yes.
John now. You done brought me through
Yes.
twice, so I got you. We gonna figure it out, and we
Yep.
gonna lock
We
you in.
are. I'm just a DM away. Just holler at me, and I
Yes,
appreciate your
sir.
presence on here. And like I said, there's not a day I don't look at that little clip of you mispronouncing that name of that college. That
Well,
doesn't
what
make me
she
laugh when
did.
I'm feeling depressed. I'm telling you, I showed my sister, and she was dying. She was like, "That is hilarious," and
I
it's just
showed
the
my wife and
reaction
she
from
just shook her
everybody
head,
in the
yo.
space that is what
Yeah.
makes it even funnier. Because when everybody realized that's what you said, it was so funny. It was a
Because
ripple
I'm
effect.
reading the stream on another page on my computer. I'm like, oh, a cheetah Baptist. What the heck is
It
that?
was like you
I
were
ain't
thinking
never
out
heard of
loud.
that shit. I was. And then I look at the screen and everybody like, what the fuck did you just say? And I was like, oh
Because it
no.
was like a down moment and nobody was really
Yeah.
paying attention, and then all of a sudden we all went, "What?"
It's like the record scratched. Everybody just looking at my square like, yo, bro, that's
I
not how
was
you say that.
dying. I know,
I
and
showed it to my
everybody
wife and she just shook her head. She was just like, yeah. But my wife
she's
know,
so
like
used
we've
to
been
it.
together damn near 13 years. We didn't known each other
Yeah,
since 7th grade. So she know how
yeah.
she knows me, man. She knew I always when she look at me crazy, I'd be like, you knew who you married. So I
You
don't know what
signed
you
on
want
the
me to tell
dotted
you
line,
now.
lady.
Well, you been knew this. You knew what
It's
this
the
was.
DNA we got in this baby coming, so be
Yeah,
prepared.
right. That's why he in that room kicking crazy. He hear my voice, he start acting up.
He's
I was
itching.
like,
He's like, "Get
yeah,
me out of
he
here."
can't wait to hit the world. I can't wait to we can't wait to have him out here. But
Well, God bless her,
again,
because this
AJ,
heat,
man,
oh, this
yeah,
heat
that's
for her
why
being pregnant. God
yeah,
bless her.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know you
And
be
shouts out
AC
to
for life.
all the pregnant women,
All
just
the
in
pregnant
general.
women.
Um, Shouts out to everybody that's advocating for Roe v. Wade to be codified. This
Word,
is absolutely
word.
ridiculous. We live in
It
a
is.
world where
They trying
women
us.
don't
They
have
trying
control
us.
over their bodies. They trying
They really
and they will
trying.
not succeed because we gotta
No,
stand up. Men, y'all gotta stand up. Y'all got all these women that
seriously,
gave birth to
all
you and
men,
support you. Yo, y'all gotta stand up and stand in the
all of
gap.
y'all.
So I'm in the gap with y'all. I'm repping
Mhm.
hard for y'all. I call myself a feminist, real talk. Like I'm with it, man. And so, shouts out to all of these the people out here just trying to do the right thing. It's enough
Yeah,
of
it's
us out here. We could change the
2022.
world, man. Yeah.
2022, we trying to not go backwards in life. We trying to, if not,
Nah, I'm
infuse
good,
more
son.
knowledge and build on what we had as a country from the door, and not repeat the same mistakes. So can
Yeah.
we just please stop with this bullshit secret language they trying to do with us right now? We ain't for it. So, but
Yeah.
God bless you, Ma. I will definitely see
Thank
you
you.
soon. And
Yep.
yeah, fly Eagles fly, because I'm so ready to talk football.
Go
If
birds.
go birds. All
Yes,
right, talk to you
sir.
soon. Take
Yeah.
care.
Have a good